Oh, he's the shove-it man. Oh, he's the shove-it man. He's gonna shove it. Yeah, he's gonna shove it.
Man! Alright, welcome back to the Smack It Show. I actually quite enjoyed going back to the TNA review last time out, so I thought I wouldn't keep the squad waiting this time. So straight into it we go. It's all about build up to the first TNA War Games match, essentially Dusty Rhodes and his traditions, and they're going against some other geeks. And in case you were wondering, this is episodes 61 and 62 of NWA Tna. Now it's time to spray. The show opens up with some funky music. It's Sting, and he's dressed as a woman. Her name is Laz. It seems Vito stole this gimmick. He takes on TNA crowd favourite Mad Mikey Crash Holly. Last time Crash Holly beat up Mike Tenay using his own shoe. Crash starts with a takeover, but Laz starts hugging him, which disgusts Crash. He invites Crash to play with him some more. Laz with a Luther's press and an additional grinding. Now there's a freeway between Crash, Laz and the ref in the corner. Laz kisses Crash, which makes him grit his teeth with rage. Crash kicks him in the gut and puts Laz away with a double underhook DDT. Crash Holly is wearing a shirt with a bear from a girl's storybook. What a man. At the commentary desk, Tenay and West have a big trophy with them. It's announced that tonight there will be a one-night tournament to crown the best X Division wrestler of all time. It's the Super X tournament. They sure got a lot of use out of that trophy over the years. It had more winners than a lot of title belts did. In the back, Note Stooge Terry Taylor interviews Dusty Rhodes about the War Games match tonight. He says tonight's match will be more vicious than any War Games match from WCW history. The first match in the Super X tournament is Juventuud guerrera. The crowd chant Juice, and he takes on Nasawa. It's good to see that they've made some efforts getting into wrestlers who aren't actually signed with TNA. The Juice is like lightning and he hits the first move, a wheelbarrow bulldog. That's followed with a kick and Nasawa has to bail from the ring. Juice does a 619 fake out and then throws himself out of the ring into Nasawa. Juve brings him back to the ring but plays with the crowd for too long and he gets jumped. We get a nice suplex reversal trade off now. No one can hit one. But Juve can hit the spinning back kick. Moments later the Juice smashes into the corner and Nasawa super kicks him back. This match is going so quickly. Nasawa with lots of dodges followed by more kicks for a 2 count. Tenay points out that Nasawa is the ICP heavyweight champion and his attire represents that. Juve have a big setup pump handle suplex now. Now Juve does the Juve elbow. Shades of Dwayne Johnson. That's a 2. The Juice has his sunset flip reversed into a basement dropkick. The Juice responds with the Juve driver. No pin is made because instead he climbs to the top. The Juice hits a 450 for the win. Great match. It wasn't boring for a second. And what a difference it makes having the crowd fully invested in the Juice. In the back, Father James Mitchell is threatening Raven. Mitchell says he and Shane Douglas are going to shave Raven's haircut off because Raven is vain and he'd be really upset about that apparently. He's interrupted by the gifted Glenn Gilberti. How is he gifted? Disco says Shane Douglas needs to forget about Raven as he's in the War Games match tonight with Disco's team. Into another Super X match we go. It's Teddy Hart who has probably the ugliest haircut I've ever seen. Someone smacked Teddy one. Now that being said, I'm excited to see him in TNA. He faces the Wonder Kid Johnny Storm from England. Teddy jumps him straight away. Johnny copies Juve and does a wheelbarrow but this time into a DDT. The dropkick clears Teddy from the ring. Johnny Storm runs to the top rope and dives out the ring with a crazy flip dive. They come back to the ring where Storm tries another dive but this time Teddy Hart catches him with a cutter. Hart tries an armbar which doesn't work. Mike Tenay is telling us that this will be just like watching Owen Hart in the ring. Then seconds later Hart does an Asai moonsault out the ring. Johnny Storm connects with a flip driver for a 2 count. He climbs to the top again but his moonsault does not connect. Hart dives and lands a stalling DDT. The crowd loved that one. Teddy Hart climbs up again and hits a beautiful shooting star press for the 3. Another short match but super fun. It was essentially just 2 guys diving over and over again, but what do you expect from a Teddy Hart match? Sonny, don't look at my Asiaki is in the back telling us all of his nicknames again. He says he's in charge of his team at the War Games match. The other guys aren't impressed, other than Trinity. She's impressed. Johnny Swinger says, who is this goof? Pot Kettle Black. Shane Douglas walks in and tells them all to stop being geeks. He spits all over a horrified looking Siaki. Good promo from Douglas and Siaki got the last word, enjoying the show. Another Super X match will be Chris Saban taking on Jerry Lynn with his black Just For Men beard. Lynn runs through the young Chris Saban a couple of times. Saban stops him with an eyelid rake. Not for long though as Lynn does a springboard sunset flip powerbomb for a 2. Don West on commentary tells us that Sonny Siaki isn't even in the War Games match tonight. Wow, that's kind of killed that promo for me now. What was the point? It seems like we're in for a good match here. Lynn does seem to have the upper hand and scores the TKO, but then it gets weird. Don Callis, who has been bullying Jerry Lynn lately, comes down the ramp and tells Lynn that if he harms the referee, he'll be fired from TNA. That distraction's enough to get Saban the win. Worst match so far, and I'm not sure where the Jerry Lynn Don Callis storyline could possibly be going. In a dark cupboard somewhere, Raven says he isn't scared of James Mitchell or Shane Douglas. Next up, it's Michael Shane, who is Shawn Michaels' cousin and nothing else, taking on Frankie Kazarian. We've seen this match a few times lately. Shane gets a 2 count on a series of backbreakers. Kazarian also gets a couple of his own 2 counts off roll-ups. Shawn Michaels' cousin tries to get us going but runs straight into a power slam. He kicks out the pin and hits a nice kick of his own to the back of his opponent's head. Shawn Michaels' cousin looks for Sweet Chin Music, which is blocked. Instead, Shane tries a powerbomb, which is reversed into a pin, and Kaz has won. Man, these Super X matches are short. In the back, it's the wacky AJ Styles with his father, Vince Russo. AJ doesn't want to be in a cage match tonight because he's got nothing to gain from it. Russo claims that the matchmakers are just trying to hurt the champion because no one can beat him in a fair match. Russo says that as long as he's breathing, nothing will ever happen to AJ Styles, and that's why he's the champ. On to the semi-finals of the Super X Cup. The graphic says Ted Hart, but Borash announces him as Teddy Hart. This kid has some mad hops. He's taking on Juventuud. This match could be insane. Yeah, it is probably the fastest start to a match I've ever witnessed. The Juice manages the first big move with a DDT. He tries to dive, but Teddy Hart turns it into an armbar. The Juice fights up, but Teddy maintains the grip and does a Russian leg sweep. He then does a body scissors into an armbar. The match slows down for a moment now as Hart throws some punches. Juve blocks in the corner and dives with a head scissors, simply flawless. We get another 619 fake out and Teddy drags Juve out of the ring. He hits a Hurricanrana, not quite as flawless. Slight botch now as Teddy tries to do a moonsault off the guardrail. He slips but succeeds on his second attempt. It still didn't look that comfortable though. Juve stops his next dive and he hits a springboard crossbody out to the floor. So far this match is insane. They fight on the apron now. Teddy tries to go high flying but he's dropped on his nutsack. The Juice Hurricanranas him back into the ring for a 2 count. Juice gets another 2 off a pump handle driver. Teddy reverses the pinning attempt into a 2 count of his own. Now a powerbomb is reversed by Teddy and he hits the fade to black. Both guys are looking weary. Teddy wants to hit the shooting star, but instead he does a twisting 450. Somehow just a 2 count.
NWA Impact brings you the Smack of the Week. Sponsored by all new Blonde for Men. If you're a brown-haired Potter, put some blonde in it. It makes you look hotter.
Oh man, it's Teddy Hart. This guy's the black sheep of the Hart family. He's here though, trying to make a name for himself in TNA wrestling, man. He's climbing for the top, man. He's setting up for something big. Oh, it's a spinning, flipping, tornado, shooter elbow drop, man. This guy, Teddy Hart, man, leaves chaos everywhere he goes, man. Even his haircut's chaotic, man.
That was the NWA TNA Smack of the Week, sponsored by Blonde Just for Men. Get it? Got it? Shove it.
Moments later, another highlight. Juve randomly tries to take a walk up the ramp. Teddy sees this as an opportunity to hit the acai moonsault out there. What a spot fest this match is. Hart's hurt his knee on that one. He tries a sunset flip into the ring, which is blocked by Juve, who does a powerbomb. No pin is made and Teddy goes running into an almost Canadian destroyer, which Juve avoids and hits a basement dropkick. The spinning Uranagi gets Juice another 2. And yet another 2 off a spinning set-out powerbomb. Once again, Teddy almost reverses the pin. Now it's Teddy's turn to get a 2 off a diving DDT. And the shooting star connects. But he can't make the pin though because his knee hurts. Juve nails the Juve driver and the 450. Wait, no, Hart kips up. What the hell? They're on the top rope fighting now. Juve battles Hart off and delivers a top rope Juve driver for a 3. Just wow. Wow, one of the most insane matches in TNA history. Find and watch this one. The show takes a massive turn for the worse now as Tenay and West interview Ryan Wilson and Kevin Northcutt. The Terminator, Ryan Wilson, doesn't even speak a word. Maybe he's a mute. A waste of time. Now Chris Saban will face Kazarian in the other semi-final match. The match starts straight away with Kaz throwing kick after kick after kick, but you can only get a 2. Now there's a botch as Saban tries a forward roll, but he's too close to Kaz and they just sort of slop into each other. Saban starts throwing knees in the corner and roughly pushes Kaz out the ring. Saban's dive on Kaz is stopped by a rope to the nutsack. Kaz gives him a springboard DDT onto the ring apron. Saban's almost killed off for good after Kaz hits a sunset flip powerbomb onto the floor. This looks like it's only going one way. But no, it's just a 2 for Kazarian. Kaz decides to try a springboard back elbow, which is countered into a German and both guys are down hurt. Kaz is first up and he tries a powerbomb out the corner. It doesn't work and Saban head scissors him into the corner. Straight away, followed by a dragon suplex for a 2. Saban tries a submission, tying Kaz's arms around his throat. He should have done it to his legs because he got them on the ropes. The next few moves are reversed, no one can land anything. Eventually Kaz hits the wave of the future for just a 2 count. Next, Saban manages to kick Kaz off the top rope and Saban hits the back to the future, but Kaz kicks out. They both need new finishers and also need new names for their finishers. They fight on the top rope until Kazarian hits a Spanish fly from up there. He can't make a cover because both men are dead again. They get up and beat the 10 count. Kaz tries a victory roll in the corner, but Saban rolls it over again, and that's the 3 count. It's the second best match of the night. Lots of nice wrestling on this show. In the back, America's Most Wanted are wearing matching white shirts from the dollar store. James Storm apparently owns an iron, but Chris Harris spent all his money on joke books. They say tonight they're on the side of tradition in the cage match. Randomly, Kid Cash and Abyss march up. Cash says he doesn't respect authority or tradition. He slaps Terry Taylor. That was random. We've got the finals of this tournament now to crown the first ever Super X Cup winner. Chris Saban is taking on the Juice. Both of these guys must be exhausted. Guerrera is the clear favourite here. Guerrera is the clear fan favourite here. Saban tries to shake hands, which turns into a slap off and a shove off. Both guys mirror each other for a while. The Juice hits a kick and a head scissors with Saban neutralised. He tries to slow the match down, but that hasn't seemed to happen at all tonight. The Juice goes rolling and jumps at Saban, who powerbombs him on the back of his neck, and he immediately kicks him to the mat. The Juice is fine and recovers from that one, does a spinning heel kick to send Saban out the ring. 619 fake out for the third match running and Juice splashes onto Saban. Juve gets him back to the ring and hits a slingshot elbow drop for a 2. The crowd are getting noticeably distracted by something. It's probably ICP in the crowd. Back to the ring, Saban turns a wheelbarrow into a German suplex for a 2. Saban isn't in a rush to do much now and he almost pays for it. The Juice gets a 2. Saban's trying lots of submissions in this match, which is understandable because both guys are probably shattered. Saban ends up on the Juice's shoulders and he's smashed with a back to the future for a 2. Both guys keep reversing powerbombs. Now they reverse pin attempts. They both collapse to the floor with dizziness, it's quite funny. When they make it up, they're still reversing each other like crazy. At this rate, they both deserve to win that lame little trophy. They both end up crippled on the floor with tiredness again. The Juice is up first and he hits a springboard dropkick. He motions for the Juve driver, but he can't hit it. Instead, Saban drops him with a facebuster. Juve responds with an insane pile driver move. How is that one just a 2 count? How is this match still going? Saban hits a DDT now. Saban looks to finish him off with a dive, which doesn't work. Juve counters with a dropkick. Juice goes to the top. He's stopped by Saban though. Chris Saban hits him with a superplex for a 2. Back on their feet, the Juve driver finally connects. The Juice climbs to the top and he hits the 450 splash. 1, 2, no! Saban gets his foot on the rope. Randomly, they get back up and Saban hits the future shock for the 3. Wrong guy won here. The Juice was insanely popular with the crowd. What a match though, and what a tournament. In fact, this tournament was so successful that they'd bring it back in slightly different forms over the years. Now it's hype for Roddy Piper, who's apparently coming back to TNA, and he's pissed. My prediction is he'll do one shoot interview and disappear again. There's a very long break from any action now because they have to construct the cage. Things start out weird with this cage match. Eric Watts will be the special referee. The 3 live crew are here too for some reason, and they keep showing Tiny the Timekeeper. Mold Dog is the guest ring announcer. The first actual competitor is Christopher Daniels. Don't you just love seeing Russo with the heavyweight belt? The next man out is Wild Slapnuts for this.
Jeff Jarrett.
And because it's Jeff Jarrett, we get crowd brawling, because every Jeff Jarrett match must have crowd brawling, even cage matches. They make it into the ring pretty quickly, and Slapnuts does a spinebuster to Daniels. Daniels responds by hitting him with a cane and then dropping it. If that was me, I would have smashed Slapnuts with that cane 1,000 times. AJ Styles is the next man out, so the heels have the advantage now. You wouldn't know it though from the way that Slappy throws AJ about in the cage. Chris Harris is next to join the party and he hits a nice spear on Styles. Slapnuts goes for a table, just as the Diamond Man Simon Diamond joins the match. Nothing happens. D'Lo Brown with a trash can enters for the faces. Chris Harris lands a crazy catatonic on AJ Styles. He is not having a fun night. Shane Douglas is here, said no one. James Storm out next. Slappy hits Daniels with a diving guitar shot. Johnny Swinger and Raven round off this match. I'm not really a fan of these War Games matches if you can't tell. And because this is early TNA, there's no lid to the cage. It ends when AJ Styles decides to climb the cage and thrust at the crowd. Slapnuts gives him the stroke from the top of the cage, followed by Harris and D'Lo both diving on him to kill AJ for the 3. But the show goes off the air with Russo's other friends beating up all the good guys. So I guess this cage match settled absolutely nothing and it was a complete waste of time. But overall, it was a great TNA show, and if you enjoy War Games, then there wasn't a single bad match on this card. But what has Show 2 got in store for us? It starts with a number 1 contendership match between 4 tag teams. It's the 3 Live Crew versus Abyss and Cash versus Slash and Sin, Man I Missed the Undertaker, and America's Most Wanted. The most notable thing in the early going is the New Church doing this new wacky double team backdrop. Mitchell gets involved in the match and Harris shoves him over on the floor. Sin has some dodgy tattoos and skulls on his tights, so he must be a really edgy guy. Mold Dog joins the match and almost straight away Storm kicks his head off. Kid Cash also gets a 2 on the Moldy one. Cash does that springboard senton leg drop to the nutsack which we haven't seen from him in a while. Kid Cash misses his next dive and Truth tags in. He hits the scissors kick on Cash but he doesn't make a pin. Instead he smiles and hits Cash with the splits into the kicks. Cash is losing so he brings his big scary dude Abyss into the match. Truth dances at him, does the splits and tags Mold Dog. Mold Dog rings his arm and also makes a quick tag. In fact, all the tag teams are doing the exact same thing against Abyss. It gets a massive pop from the crowd and they're loving it. Whoever came up with this spot, good work. Cash slaps his own partner and tells him not to be an idiot. That fires Abyss up and he destroys everyone in this match on his own. It's really fun to watch. He's stopped by a double spear from America's Most Wanted. They throw themselves out the ring on top of him. Kid Cash tries the moneymaker on Truth with the ref distracted, but Terry Taylor sneaks out and hits Cash in the nutsack. Rod the Truth wins the match with a front suplex. A fun match. Roddy Piper is here to cut a shoot promo as usual. He says he's not crazy, he's just a little unwell. He sounds like a crazy man, he's screaming at the crowds. He starts having a mental breakdown and throwing chairs around. Predictably, Russo makes his way out. Piper says he should have beat Russo up last time they were in the same ring. Russo says that he's not here to fight, he's here to talk. He says that Piper's only here because he burned every bridge in wrestling and he hopes his children starve to death. Bit harsh. Russo threatens to leave TNA along with AJ Styles unless someone removes Roddy Piper from TNA. Russo screams something else and walks off. Thanks for coming, I guess, Piper. Up next, it's a casket match. D'Lo Brown taking on Sonny Don't Look at My Ass Siaki. This is happening because Siaki had tried to put D'Lo and his career in a coffin recently. D'Lo has the match won in the early going, but Trinity stops him. D'Lo returns to dominate in the match. He puts the casket in the corner of the ring and throws Siaki into the casket. D'Lo tries to follow up with a splash, which Siaki is able to counter. Siaki drops the coffin on top of his nutsack. This thing's a piece of crap, it's on the verge of falling apart. D'Lo wakes up and starts winning again for a moment before D'Lo is wedged in the corner between the casket and the turnbuckles. Siaki keeps throwing the casket into him. Sonny's only in control for a bit longer as he throws some punches because he's too slow and he's stopped and hit the sky high on the casket. D'Lo follows that up with the lowdown on top of the casket, but he can't win the match because Umaga debuts in TNA. He hits the Samoan drop and a big splash to D'Lo's back. They put D'Lo in the casket and Sonny Don't Look at My Ass Siaki has won the match. Will this be the start of a new amazing Samoan tag team? Probably not. Don Callis threatens Roddy Piper for a bit before Eric Watts walks in and they argue over who is running the show. Eric Watts says he now has all the power in TNA and he has the papers to prove it. He says he has to get them for his jacket and he pulls off a jacket flip-off. Russo marches up and says AJ Styles is issuing an open challenge tonight. Watts is still laughing and does the flip-off joke again. 6-man X Division tag match now. It's Nasawa, Chris Saban and Michael Shane, who is Shawn Michaels' cousin and the X Division champion and nothing else. And they take on, randomly, Eric Young making his TNA debut.
And you couldn't make it up, it's probably the worst debut ever for EY because he has his name mixed up with David Young, the master of the cab driver slam. Where has that guy gone anyway? He's completely disappeared from the show.
His taxi gig is probably paying more than TNA, to be honest. Kazarian and the Juice is back once again. Big pop for him again. Juve and Shane start. Shane thinks he's got the better of the Juice and does a comical laugh. Then the Juice makes him pay with a chop. Nasawa gets the tag and lots of backbreaker reversals happen until a basement dropkick from the Juice. There's a big ICP chant going on in the crowd. Eric Young is in now and he tries a sunset flip on the ropes which doesn't look great and Nasawa boots him in the head. Saban gets in and he's dropkicked a couple of times from EY before Kaz comes in. He and Eric Young do a wacky double team together. Saban takes the ref and the heels cheat to take out Kaz. Saban springboards back into the ring with a spinning back elbow. Kaz is in real trouble. Shane hits him with a net breaker from the top rope. Saban gets the tag, and this is Kaz's chance to make the tag after he hits a pump kick, but he can't make the tag. The match breaks down, and the heels try a shield powerbomb, which Kaz turns into a hurricanrana. He takes out the other two heels with a double springboard back elbow. The Juice gets the tag and hits a springboard crossbody and a double bulldog. Nasawa is killed by a spinning heel kick, and moments later the Juice throws himself out of the ring just about. Everyone else hits dives as you might expect. Saban's springboard flip dive is by far the most impressive. He gets the Juice in the ring, but he can't put him away, and then the Juice hits the Juve driver. He's stopped from hitting his 450 and he falls in his nutsack. Saban hits him with a cradle shock. The pin is broken up. Kazarian hits the Wave of the Future. He can't win because Shane hits him with an Impaler DDT. Michael Shane is dragged from the ring. Nasawa and EY are fighting in the ring now. Nasawa hits the Shining Wizard. Young stops his next move and it looks like he's going to win, but Saban smashes him with the title belt. Michael Shane steals the pin from Chris Saban, and he isn't happy.
Kazarian is shown at ringside flirting with a young hippie version of Angelina Love. This is a storyline that never went anywhere.
Now Chris Daniels is in a broom cupboard doing an Undertaker impression. He's preaching to some nerds. I guess he's brainwashed them or something. He thinks he's God, I guess. He tells them to take out Slapnuts. The geeks tell Daniels that he is their light. Bizarre. The Slappy One himself makes his way out next. He cuts a promo demanding a title shot and threatening Vince Russo. He also wants to beat up Chris Daniels. Slapnuts is here in his favourite Ice Cream Man outfit. In the back, Crash Holly is told he has a tag title shot tonight, but he's not happy because his partner will be Jaws. The Shark is playing games as usual. Crash tells him he likes to play with himself too, but he does it on his own time. Crash throws a hilarious tantrum. This is a team that the Hawk can get behind. Out now is the tag team champions, the New York Nerds. Shark Boy keeps getting put in comedy tag teams. Crash is all business in the early going. He drops Swinger on his face, then he does a bottom rope walk to take out Swinger. Shark Boy gets the tag and hits a missile dropkick into the Crash Spinebuster. Swinger drops the Shark on the turnbuckle, but he isn't hurt and hits the Diamond Man with a Hurricanrana. Shark Boy and Crash do another wacky double team, but Crash isn't happy about it. The Diamond Man scores a cheap shot super kick for a 2. Then the New York guys kill Crash with a double team. The match keeps getting interrupted by Slapnuts hunting for Daniels in a garden. Shark Boy has the match won with a deep sea drop, but he can't get the 3 because the gifted Glenn Gilberto, how is he gifted, breaks the pin up. Crash throws a temper tantrum and attacks Disco. The New York guys kill Shark Boy with the problem solver for the 3. Scott Hudson is with Jeff Jarrett, who's also throwing a tantrum. He's found Daniel's minions. I'm not sure if these guys are actual wrestlers, but Jarrett seems to struggle with them. Jarrett throws one of them off a balcony and through a table. I think it was a cheap version of Steven Richards. New Jack would have been proud of that bump. Wacky AJ Styles video package now. It seems he's facing Jerry Lynn tonight. Not sure how they had time to make a video package when he only issued the open challenge 10 minutes before. And that match will be now. Trinity looks golden tonight. Here we have a match with 2 guys whose early TNA matches helped the company so much. Lynn throws Styles backwards and clotheslines him down. Lynn also hits the Total World Backbreaker. This match is all Jerry Lynn. He drops Styles on the ropes and springboard drop kicks him away. AJ does a baseball slide onto the guardrail and he disappears for a moment, but Lynn is still in control of Styles. AJ double legs him and flips him into the steps to calm him down. Lynn brings out all his big moves for this one. He suplexes Styles overhead into the corner. He hits the TKO and he hits a set-up powerbomb, but none of this can beat Styles. Trinity cheats and AJ almost wins with a brainbuster. Lynn reverses the Styles clash with a fade to black, but it still isn't over because Trinity makes another save. AJ tries to use a steel chair now, which is blocked by Lynn. That doesn't matter anyway because Styles hits a net breaker on the steel chair. Lynn incredibly kicks out. The crowd are rallying behind Lynn to beat Styles. They're coming to their feet. And just like that, Styles hits the clash for the 3. A good match which was missing a couple of minutes. The crowd were behind Lynn for his fiery comeback and then there wasn't one. Vince Russo is here and he demands to know if TNA is choosing him or Piper in TNA. This whole thing might make sense if Piper had stuck around for more than one night. Dusty Rhodes, who is one of the 50 authority figures on this show, comes out to provide an answer. Except he doesn't provide an answer. Instead he reminds AJ that he is the highest paid person in TNA. Don't make me laugh, Dusty. Dusty also tells AJ to leave Russo. It ends with Styles jumping Dusty and smacking him with a title belt. Roddy Piper tries to make the save, but the red shirt geeks stop him. Jarrett arrives and the heels all bail because they're terrified of Slapnuts and tradition. In the back, 50 people are screaming and crying. Don Callis removes Piper from the building. Slapnuts is very unhappy at this decision. Somewhere else in the back, James Mitchell is insulting Raven. He says Raven has hornswoggled his fans into thinking that he's great. Douglas looks like he's constipated and he's pushing hard. In the main event, the franchise Shane Douglas takes on Raven. It's a hair versus hair match. There's a long stare down to start this match. Shane Douglas keeps getting distracted by the crowd though. He needs to pay attention because Douglas would definitely not look good bowled. Raven smacks him one a few times and launches him out the ring. He's unharmed. Raven sends him out the ring again, but once again he beats Raven back into the ring. He's playing games. Raven drives his fist into his meathead. Eventually they fight in the crowd. Raven hits Douglas with the chair and does a leg drop to the chair. Now Raven has a fan hold a steel chair and he throws Douglas into it. The ref is a dick and demands they go back to the ring. For a while now we get Raven trying the Cobra Clutch. It doesn't really look very tight. Douglas punches him in the gut to get him off. With Douglas in control, he drops down and hits the drop toe hold to send Raven from the ring. But that doesn't help him and Raven does the Russian leg sweep into the crowd barrier. Another drop toe hold now, this time it's Raven on Douglas. Raven is stopped by a kick to the nutsack and he slams Raven's head into the steps. He targets Raven's head with some more smacks and he's opened up. Wow, we get an actual move now. It's Douglas that does that throwback type move which Cena used. He's unhurt and both guys start trading submission holds. Nobody manages to keep on a hold for long though. It ends with Douglas hip tossing Raven out of the ring. Douglas brings it back to the ring. Both guys look like bird turd. Raven does some smacks which causes Douglas to start puking in the middle of the ring. It looks like it's almost over, but it isn't. Shane Douglas gets a steel chain and smacks Raven in the head for a 2. Raven responds with the drop toe hold into a steel chair. Raven yet again crushes Douglas, this time with a bulldog into the chair. Douglas looks like he's in real trouble. Raven ducks his clothesline and hits him with a super kick. It's just a 2 because the Slash Man is here and he pulls the ref away. And now we get one of my favourite all-time ref bumps that we've seen before. Raven knocks 2 wrestlers and a ref down like bowling pins. Unfortunately for Raven, this means he's beaten up by other members of the New Church and Douglas boots Raven in the head. The Gathering fight the New Church away. Douglas quickly loses the advantage as the Raven effect connects, just a 2. Now Raven stacks him on the top rope. He's looking for something big, but he can't find it because Douglas pushes him for a table. Surprisingly, that's also just a 2. Douglas puts Raven on another table. He climbs to the top, but Raven suddenly wakes up and climbs to the top. He hits the raisin effect on Douglas through the table. The ref tries to count to 3, but the lights go out. When the lights come back on, there's a mummy in the ring who turns out to be Vampiro. He DDTs Raven and leaves, and that's the 3 for Shane Douglas. Raven is the victim of a haircut, something he's been fearing for years since his mum gave him a bowl cut that one time. This match felt very far away from all the other matches we've seen tonight. It's mostly been a high-flying affair for the last 2 shows. Now that being said, I enjoyed both shows, but the first was better, because the juice makes your girl wetter.